Get ready for The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's dedicated update show. Events, businesses, and people. Anything and anyone causing a ripple in the community. And now, let's dive in to The Splash Live.
Hello and welcome to The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. Your stories from your hometown on your community media, Civic Center TV, and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft alongside Dayan Chaaban. We thank you for joining us as you do each and every day on Comcast Channel 15 and on AT&T Channel 99. In addition, you can also find us on the web on civiccentertv.com, where you can watch us live, find us on demand, as well as all of our other original programming and learn about when your favorite Civic Center TV original programs will be airing each and every day on our brand new programming schedule. In addition, you can find us on social media on facebook.com/CivicCenterTV15 and on YouTube at Civic Center TV. And also, you can listen to us on the radio, take our broadcast safely with you on the road throughout the Greater West Bloomfield area on 89.3 Lakes FM each and every day. Diane, a little bit of a break yesterday from the clouds and the rain for part of the day, but going to make its way back in for a little while as we head into the later portions of the week. Would appear that Diane, there we go, Diane. Are you with us
sorry.
now?
Yeah, I'm with you right now. I think I had a technical issue. Tyler, as you said, we did have a very nice break yesterday. We did have partly cloudy skies with some intermittent sunshine, some warmer times on as you pass by the sunshine, but it was a little bit chilly, and it will continue to be chilly as well today. We're expecting highs of 50s and lows of 43. We're mostly cloudy skies for today, unfortunately. With showers expected to start in the afternoon and continue throughout the evening. And as we go into Wednesday, it's going to be no showers expected for Wednesday, but it still be mostly cloudy day with partly cloudy evening and night, and expected highs of 58 and a low of 45 degrees. And as we go to the end of the week, Thursday, there's going to be chances of rain throughout the morning, followed by a cloudy afternoon. And there's also a possibility of more showers throughout the evening with the highs of 50 and lows 42. So temperatures will fluctuate a little bit, but there will be showers throughout the week.
You know, that rain might be helpful on Friday night. The Lakers football team getting a great chance to get some experience playing in torrential downpours at Oxford High School last week in a tough second half. Could that help them on Friday against Southfield A&T? The good news is we get a little bit of a break from the moisture as far as the forecast shows right now for Wednesday. That's going to be important because as we take a look at our headlines making news on this Tuesday in Greater West Bloomfield Parks and Bloomfield Hills schools are set to unveil their new Pine Lake Park tomorrow on Wednesday evening at the old Pine Lake School location. They entered a lease agreement on that, and they'll have a full dedication ceremony in the evening on Wednesday night. In a little bit, we'll tell you more about that dedication and what's to be expected at Pine Lake Park in this new partnership between Bloomfield Hills Schools and West Bloomfield Parks. Speaking of partnership, a recent fundraiser through Gino's Pizzeria and Restaurant has raised thousands of dollars for the Keego Harbor Jacket Club. We'll tell you just how much that fundraiser ultimately raised, and we'll give you a little bit of information too on the Jacket Club, especially as we're heading straight toward the holiday season. Right next door in Sylvan Lake, some unfortunate news about a couple of ongoing scams affecting residents both in their homes and over the phone. We'll give you the details on what's been reported from Chief Corrigan O'Donohue in Sylvan Lake in just a little bit. The good news out of Sylvan Lake is that Sylvan Yoga Night is back and better than ever. We'll give you details on that in a little while as well. Plus, the vital role of flu vaccinations as we are into the colder parts of the year. The weather's starting to cool down, feel more fall-like. Dr. Jamie Tawil will explain what the flu shot does to prevent seasonal flu and how the vaccination is determined every single year. Plus, we'll tell you about a flu vaccine that's happening this week, coming up tomorrow in West Bloomfield at West Bloomfield Town Hall. Later on, the West Bloomfield School District continues to recognize principals for National Principals Month. We'll have a couple of those that we'll recognize on today's program, plus a really fun video from Sheiko Elementary and their celebration of their Mr. Peace Assembly with a message of respect and kindness. Dayan Chaaban will have the story on that. Later on in the program, the West Bloomfield High School Marching Band headed up to Mount Pleasant over the weekend. We'll tell you why they were there and what sort of fun stuff they were able to do at CMU. Bloomfield Hills Schools educators received grant funds through their local schools foundation. We'll show you some of their reactions from receiving that grant funding yesterday, plus how you can get eclipse glasses from the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. Just a few more days to get them before the annual lunar eclipse comes through our local community. Annual solar eclipse, my apologies, comes through our community. Plus, later on in the program, I'll tell you how you can participate with the West Bloomfield Rotary Club in their annual Out of Africa dinner and auction supporting a fundraiser that provides education, medical care, and humanitarian aid to kids in Zambia. We'll tell you about that and plenty more stories from your hometown on your community media coming up in just a little bit. Stay with us right here on The Splash Live.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Want to enjoy Civic Center TV on your social media? Follow us on Twitter at Civic Center TV. Get notified when we upload one of our interviews, full episodes, and more. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take a break and tune in to The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Join Tyler Kieft and Dayan Chaaban as they go through headlines, events, and update you on the day-to-day in Oakland County. Catch us live Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Watch us on demand at civiccentertv.com. Or watch us on TV at Comcast Channel 15 or AT&T at Channel 99. This is Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. On cable and the radio. On the web too, and on social media. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home. And now, back to The Splash, live.
Welcome back to The Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. Your stories from your hometown on your community media, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Keep up to date with us on our Facebook page at Civic Center TV 15 and find all of our videos by subscribing and hitting the bell on our YouTube page at Civic Center TV as well. That includes live editions of West Bloomfield Lakers football every single Friday. This Week in Laker Football premiered last night on our YouTube page. You can see that as well. Plus, plenty of video from over the past couple weeks from the West Bloomfield Fire Department open house and other fun events, including the West Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce annual leadership breakfast. And we'll have video coming up later on this week from a really cool thing that's happening, a new partnership between West Bloomfield Parks and the Bloomfield Hills School District. They entered into a lease agreement earlier this year on the old Pine Lake Elementary School property on Long Lake Road, just in between Orchard Lake and Middle Belt in West Bloomfield. West Bloomfield Parks will be developing the old Pine Lake site into a brand new park and will be managing that as well. It will be called Pine Lake Park, and they'll have a special dedication ceremony on Wednesday evening at Pine Lake Park. That's 3333 West Long Lake Road between Middle Belt and Orchard Lake in West Bloomfield. The beginning time for the dedication is 5:45 p.m. We'll be there to record it, and we'll broadcast that at a later date later on this week. So, of course, stay tuned to our website on civiccentertv.com. You'll hear from the chairperson of the West Bloomfield Parks and Recreation Commission, Robert Brooks. You'll hear from Executive Director Kelly Heyer, an official from Bloomfield Hills School District, and then they will do a special a special ribbon cutting and dedication to the Pine Lake Park as they get ready to open this. They'll be renovating the playgrounds, renovating the athletic fields and facilities that are already in place. And Calvin at Master Control, we do have some pictures right now of what the property looks like. And it's already primed to be a park. The school building has been gone for several years. That playground had been updated about maybe 10 years ago, 10 to 15 years ago. So that does have a need for an update, but the baseball field or softball field in very good condition. Plenty of walking trails that West Bloomfield Parks will be expanding throughout that property to make them a little bit more proper, widen them, make sure they're in good condition. This one actually leads up into those woods in the back of that property in between that and the Pine Lake Estates neighborhood. And so there's plenty of room for activities at the new Pine Lake Park, for putting new facilities in there to support all the other park areas like we already have in that location. It's in a great spot too. It's right by a neighborhood. It's right down the road, and it's just a couple blocks away from other neighborhoods as well. It's right in the thick of that Long Lake Road area in between West Bloomfield and as you're heading toward Keego Harbor, right down the road too, just a short walk away, a few blocks from the West Bloomfield Trail. So it is a prime location and a great partnership established between West Bloomfield Parks and the Bloomfield Hills School District. Diane, not a better way to preserve this land going forward and make it useful to the community, as it's been sitting there just vacant and used basically already as a park for the better part of the last 20 years.
That is true, Tyler, and it will provide the people in the east side of the West Bloomfield Township with a very beautiful park. It's 21 acres. It's a huge piece of land, and they will continue to renovate and work on it throughout the years. They did mention something about, as you said earlier, about expanding the hiking tracks, making them better for whoever wants to visit. They will continue to renovate the baseball fields and the all the fields that are there. There's plenty of them. So. The playground equipment as well. So there's plenty of stuff to do, but it's a great start and it's a great park. Huge land, again, for people living in all over our county. But they did mention before they negotiated having Pine Lake as a park, they did mention that it will provide an adequate park for people in the east side of our township.
Yeah, that's been an area of focus for West Bloomfield Parks for a number of years. This has been one of those sites they have been eyeing for a while, and it's a perfect opportunity both for the Bloomfield Hills School District to maintain their ownership of the land, be able to use it for special events also, while partnering and helping to benefit the community in West Bloomfield Township. That Pine Lake School there used to be an elementary school in the Bloomfield Hills School District. I actually grew up in the neighborhood behind what's going to be Pine Lake Park. And up until the point where I was actually in school, we just called it the park. So it was already sort of primed to be great park land already. It had basketball courts there, a couple of playgrounds, great little hiking trails you could go through. And of course, the baseball field, the tennis courts, potentially they can expand those into putting some pickleball courts in there as well. So great opportunity. And we'll be there with our friends at West Bloomfield Parks on Wednesday to record the event. And we'll have that for you broadcast later on, live to tape, as we call it in the business, on CivicCenterTV.com. Across the community, a recent golf outing fundraiser led by Gino and the team at Gino's Pizzeria and Restaurant has raised over $3,000 in support of the Jacket Club of Keego Harbor. Gino Santia delivered a check to one of the board members of the Jacket Club, Pat Ostrowski, earlier on this week. With the full funding from that fundraiser, $3,300 and counting, going toward this 501c3 nonprofit out of Keego Harbor that has spanned the generations. Founded in 1966, you're seeing some pictures on your screen on CivicCenterTV.com. They are an organization that is focused on providing necessities for people in need in Keego Harbor and even in surrounding areas a bit as well. Emergency needs being fulfilled for food, for gifts during the holiday season, for other necessities for children and families all throughout the year. We think about the Thanksgiving holiday. They do a lot of work around that time of the year, certainly also around the end of the year holidays like Christmas and during the Hanukkah season too. And in addition, they've expanded their help throughout the community, also providing support at the nearby Spirit of Grace Church for their diabetic food pantry. And here you see a picture of them lining up a lot of the gifts and necessities last year at the fire station in Keego Harbor, just after Commerce Road. in the heart of the lakes. They do such great work all throughout the year. And if you want to learn more information, you can either stop in at Keego Harbor City Hall. They'll tell you all that you need to know about it or point you in the right direction. Same thing with the friendly people at Gino's Pizzeria and Restaurant. You can ask more about the Jacket Club. And donations are tax deductible because this is a 501c3 nonprofit. You can mail checks for donations to P.O. Box 452, Keego Harbor, Michigan 48320 to learn more information. And great result from a really fun golf outing later on in the summer, Dayan, to support a really good organization. And that check could not come at a better time as we're into the middle portions of the month of October and heading right toward the holiday season when these families are going to be getting those necessities that they need the most.
Tyler, I just have to say it is very heartwarming that businesses in our local community are also helping out all these other organizations. So how beautiful it is that we are all integrated, we are all one, and how we help each other. So helping out these businesses, I mean, Gino's Pizzeria, and going in there just also provides help for other organizations in our community. So that's a beautiful thing to see how connected we are and how empathetic we are of our surroundings. And also, Tyler, I must say, it's great to always have these fun events that also benefit these organizations.
Yeah, the Jacket Club played a big role too for Gino's just last year also after they had that fire overnight just before the Michigan Week Awards in 2022 at Gino's Pizzeria and Restaurant. and knocked them out of business for several months. And the Jacket Club went into action right away alongside Gino and Irene Santia and the team at their business to help support their employees as they continued to be in need, of course, of their paychecks. They weren't going to be able to make that money by working at the restaurant because the restaurant was closed and had to be restored and then reopened. And the Jacket Club sprung into action right away. And perhaps this is the Gino's way of providing a thank you back to them and some good graces back to the Jacket Club. And of course, the people of Keego Harbor who do so much to support the Jacket Club of Keego Harbor year round, including their wild game dinner that's usually held around March every single year. And they do great work to support the families of Keego Harbor and nearby areas, one of our great community organizations here in Greater West Bloomfield. We'll take a break on the Splash Live. On the other side, some scams you need to be aware of, particularly in Sylvan Lake. A message from the chief of police in Sylvan Lake about 2 ongoing but non-related scams that you should be keeping an eye out for and what you can do to prevent yourself from becoming a victim of those crimes. Plus, Sylvan Lake Yoga Night is back once again this week and going forward. We'll tell you more about Sylvan Yoga 2.0 coming up next on the Splash Live.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. Missed one of our live broadcasts or one of your local municipal meetings? Check it out online at civiccentertv.com. Every meeting, show, and interview on demand. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
The sad reality is fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kitchen now.
Watch West Bloomfield Lakers football all season long on 89.3 Lakes FM and Civic Center TV. Join Tyler Kieft and Matt Catoni each week for live, in-depth, and exclusive coverage before, during, and after the big game. It's your local high school football team on the road and in your backyard on your home for West Bloomfield Laker football, Civic Center TV, and 89.3 Lakes FM. Want to enjoy Civic Center TV on your social media? Find us on Instagram at Civic Center TV. Get notified when we upload one of our interviews, full episodes, and more. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. And now, back to the Splash Live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. Your stories from your hometown on your community media, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft alongside Dayan Chaaban, and we thank you for joining us as always, including on our website for free and high definition on CivicCenterTV.com, on our Comcast and AT&T channels on channel 15 and 99 respectively, and of course on our Facebook and YouTube pages at Civic Center TV 15 and Civic Center TV each and every day. Bringing you news from the city of Sylvan Lake, where Chief Corey O'Donoghue sent out an email through the Sylvan Lake News Bite yesterday, warning residents in the prettiest little city in Michigan about two not-so-pretty scams ongoing and already affecting residents in Sylvan Lake. The first of which involves actual people going to your home and asking for help that they don't need, all to get your hard-earned cash into their pockets. Here's what they're doing. It's an innocent-looking couple with a child that goes up to your door claiming that they're visitors from Dubai or another nation in need of gas money, and offer supposed gold jewelry as collateral, saying, hey, we just need some cash to go get some gas, and then we can go and get some more cash to pay you back for that afterward. And then when we pay you back, you'll of course give us our gold jewelry back. Turns out that jewelry is not actually gold. It's fake. It is basically worthless. They're taking your money, they're running away with it, and they're never coming back. And this is not the first time that this has happened. So according to Chief O'Donoghue in his Sylvan Lake News Bite email, he did specifically say that they claim to be visitors from Dubai and deceitfully obtained several $100s from a compassionate Sylvan Lake resident already. So someone in Sylvan Lake has been directly affected by this in the recent days. The second scam is a little bit different. This one's over the phone, where people are doing what's called spoofing their caller ID to appear like they're calling you from DTE Energy or another utility. In this case, it was referenced that it was DTE was the utility that they were spoofing. In this case, they call you, they tell you have an outstanding balance on your energy bill and that you need to pay that off right away. However, instead of encouraging you to go into your account portal online or pay by a check through the mail directly to DTE Energy, they're asking you to go out, buy gift cards, and then read them the numbers off of those gift cards. That is a scam. That is fraud through and through. And that's actually a common tactic that scam artists use all the time for these phone-related scams, to falsely claim that you might be subject to disconnection of your electrical services. So here are some things you can do, and these are related to both of these scams. This advice from Corey O'Donoghue, the chief of police in Sylvan Lake. While these scams are unrelated, there's similar things that you can do to protect yourself from both of them. First off, don't allow strangers, of course, into your home. If someone's asking to go into your home, or they're asking you to provide them with something, you can politely just ask them to leave, or simply say, sorry, I can't help you at the moment. What I like to do in the rare cases that this happens is make up some other excuse that takes you out of that situation, while also still being polite to these individuals. I've had something like that happen before, a couple of years back, where I was leaving a department store late at night. I had just gone to purchase some groceries after getting home from work, and I had a couple approach me saying that they had parked in the parking lot and they just needed some cash for gasoline, and not only asked me for cash, but asked me to walk over to the vehicle with them. If it seems like it's a little bit of a weird thing to ask randomly, it probably is. Something's probably going on there, and you should be extra careful. So don't let people into your home. Don't be extremely cautious of people unsolicited nature asking you for money for whatever reason it may be. This is not to say don't be a compassionate person and don't try to help people in your community. But if it seems like it's kind of random and it's out of nowhere and it doesn't quite seem believable to you, it probably isn't, and you should just play it safe in that situation. And in the case of these phone scams, it's always best to identify the person that you're speaking with, and then go through steps to verify that they are who they claim to be. Best thing you can do is if they call you and they say, hey, look, you have an outstanding balance on your energy bill, say, okay, thank you very much, I'll take care of that. Hang up the phone, check online, or call DTE directly and talk to their customer service line to check in on your bill, because best case scenario, you're going to verify with them that you do have an outstanding balance and work to pay that off. That would be the worst case scenario. The best case scenario is you've gotten yourself out of potentially being scammed, as people do often, unfortunately, buy those gift cards and provide that information to those scammers over the phone. And once that happens, Dayan, that cash is gone, it's out of your account. You can't get it back. It's almost untraceable at that point. And that's why these scammers continue to do this, because they're spoofing their numbers. They're using maybe fake numbers or voice over IP numbers that they can dispose of quickly. So got to know the steps you can take to identify scams and prevent yourself and others from becoming a victim.
That is true, Tyler. We also should be super vigilant about the story that's coming, that we're hearing. So, I mean, especially with the first one, it seems a little bit weird that people coming in from Dubai are just gonna knock on door, or even if you're a tourist, you wouldn't be knocking on doors and telling people that you don't have any gas money. I understand that people in our community are compassionate, but we should be vigilant about how much the story makes sense. So this is one thing that this is also another advice that I would give to people in our community. Other things is when it happens to be from an organization such as DTE, we do have online accounts, as we all know. They do send mail. They do not really call and ask for gift cards, so it also does not really make sense. But if you just want to make sure, as you said, Tyler, just hang up the phone, tell them I'll check that out on my online account. And usually DTE has all this information. And if you are far behind on any payment, they will usually notify you, or you can see it on your online account, or just call them, as you said, on your customer service. I called their customer service line. One more thing, Tyler, we should be also very careful about is that people nowadays, these scammers, they're very smart, and they are using AI to their benefit. So we should also make sure that we did hear a lot of news that people are calling through AI. They're trying to imitate voices of people they know. So make sure you also inform people who usually call you or your family members to just like give you a certain code, like just for fun. I mean, you never know when that happens, but tell them, hey, if you get a weird call with my voice, just make sure that, hey, do we have a code between us? So this is also something we can look at. We can never be too careful with these scammers, Tyler. We've been hearing a lot of weird stories, and we don't want these stories to happen in our community right here.
And a good resource for this information too, for steps you can take, for things you can do to prevent yourself from becoming a victim of a scam, or even just those steps you can kind of take mentally to heart and have in your back pocket, so to speak, if you need them in these sorts of situations, is to contact your local police department on their non-emergency number, or stop in and talk to an officer about those steps you can take. Certainly that would be the case with the friendly people at the Sylvan Lake Police Department, and same in Keego Harbor and West Bloomfield also. Or if you're from a neighboring community listening to us on 89.3 Lakes FM, your local police department are a great resource for that. So is the Better Business Bureau, another great resource for that, as well as federal law enforcement like the SEC and in particular the FBI that does investigate these sorts of crimes when they do become more common. But Dayan, you made a great point. If it seems like it's kind of an odd story, especially for that first scam where those individuals are coming to your home claiming to be tourists, not often that you see tourists coming to Sylvan Lake. It's a beautiful place to visit, not necessarily a tourist location. It's more of a bedroom community and a business community than that. Plus, not really any airports or hotels anywhere all too close that they would have ran out of gas if they were driving a rental car to or from those locations. So kind of those things you can think about as these things are coming up, to keep being compassionate, but also being smart and protecting your home and your community as well. Some good news to help to relax you a little bit after some of the worry from those scams ongoing in our community is a night of yoga at the Sylvan Lake Community Center. Sylvan Yoga 2.0 is back and better than ever in the month of October. It all began last week at the Sylvan Lake Community Center, and it continues on all throughout the rest of this year. Every Wednesday night so every Thursday night at Sylvan Lake, this will be going on. There are some weeks where it doesn't happen, including this week on the 12th. It's not currently scheduled on the Sylvan Lake Community Center's calendar. However, it is scheduled for the 19th and the 26th. So you can always learn more information on sylvanlake.org. Sylvan Yoga 2.0 is bigger than ever. It used to be in a small room at the community center on city council nights. Now they've moved it from Wednesdays to Thursdays at the Sylvan Lake Community Center so that they can use the main room, have the sun setting in the background, use the fireplace as it gets cooler outside, and they have a certified trainer in Misty Markham leading leading the class each and every week. A certified instructor will lead a peaceful sunset class for just $5 each class. 248-480-6080 for more information and to find more times, including next week, the 19th, and the last week of October, the 26th at 6:30. You can find more information on sylvanlake.org. Sylvanlake.org, go over to their calendar. You'll get even more information. Yoga night happening every Thursday, or at least most Thursdays. Sometimes they do take weeks off at 6:30 at the Sylvan Lake Community Center on Pontiac Drive. We'll take a break on the Splash Live. On the other side, as we are now into the cooler months of the year, the fall weather starting to make its way in, and along with it comes flu season. What you need to know about the seasonal flu, about the flu shot. Should you get that shot every single year? And what does it actually do to protect you from the symptoms of the flu? Dr. Jamie Twill will explain that with us after the break. Then we'll tell you more about an upcoming flu clinic happening right here in West Bloomfield. Stay with us. The Splash Live continues after this break.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. Find local municipal meetings at our program schedule on civiccentertv.com. Find when your meetings air live or when they're replaying on our Civic Center TV live stream. Find it all at civiccentertv.com and click schedule at the top of the screen. Take a break and tune in to the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Join Tyler Kieft and Dayan Chaaban as they go through headlines, events, and update you on the day-to-day in Oakland County. Catch us live Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. Watch us on demand at civiccentertv.com. Or watch us on TV at Comcast Channel 15 or AT&T at Channel 99. And now, back to the Splash Live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. It's your stories from your hometown on your community media outlets, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. The wait is over for stories from your hometown. You don't have to wait through an entire newscast all afternoon or all evening long to get that one story that may or may not be positive in your community. You're going to find all the good stuff and the stuff that needs to be talked about in each of our 4 communities here: West Bloomfield Township, Keego Harbor, Orchard Lake Village, and Sylvan Lake. Each and every day of your work week on civiccentertv.com, on our YouTube page at Civic Center TV, on our Facebook page at Civic Center TV 15, and of course on Comcast Channel 15 and AT&T Channel 99. And you can also take us with you on the radio, 89.3 Lakes FM. One of the big topics you'll start to hear about over the next several weeks, especially from your primary care provider, is the seasonal flu. The flu season is upon us in Greater West Bloomfield as we get into the fall and head toward the winter. And so there's a lot of questions about how dangerous is the seasonal flu? What does the flu shot do for me every single year? Do I need it every single year? And of course, like anything else, there's tons of information out there, which means there's also a ton of noise out and about on this topic. Here to clear up some of that noise and get to the answers on some of these questions is Dr. Jamie Twill, medicine specialist at Grand River Medical Associates. Dr. Twill, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me as always. How are we doing?
Doing well so far. A good start to the week and hoping it's much the same for you.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely good.
So as we get into this week, we're in the first week of fall, Dr. Twill, and that means we're getting into flu season. And as we get into the flu season, there's so many different misconceptions about the true risks and consequences of the seasonal flu. It's something that we deal with every single year. It looks the same every single year, but it can have a variety of different impacts. So what are the risks and the consequences of contracting the seasonal flu potentially for individuals across the board?
Well, I mean, the risks of flu remain the same as always. If you're a patient that's going to have some comorbidities, but in addition to people that don't have comorbidities, the flu can definitely impact you. It can cause respiratory issues. It can cause, severe, inflammatory reactions that could be dangerous. Many people are hospitalized, and unfortunately, flu does cause deaths. You want to basically try to reduce your risk as much as possible, and the best way to do that is to get the flu vaccine.
And on that note, there is some contrary to that. There is some contrarian information about the flu vaccine. So many say, well, we see this every single year. People get the flu one year. It helps to protect them from the flu the next year. Those small changes that happen year to year, those mutations we've heard so much about with COVID-19 that also happen with the flu, maybe those aren't as severe as they're made out to be. But so on that note, let's just start with the basics. What does the flu vaccine do to protect people on a year-to-year basis, and why is it something that people are suggested to get year in and year out?
So the flu vaccine is basically proteins from the flu virus. The CDC and the powers that be basically try to determine what the flu is that's going to sweep through the country. And they make an educated guess based on what they find, and they create a vaccine based on that. And what they do is they submit that vaccine to everybody to get a flu vaccine. Sometimes they're good hits and they definitely protect you from the flu. Unfortunately, some years they do miss and different strains blow through. The vaccine is very specific to one type of flu, although mutations you can get coverage for specific mutations. So every year there's a different vaccine for a different flu. And the hope is that it will definitely reduce your risk of getting the flu. And not only that, but reduce your risk of getting a severe case of the flu so that you're not being hospitalized or you're not dealing with, significant respiratory or otherwise dangerous problems that could impact you.
And on that note, you mentioned the way that the flu vaccine is determined by the powers that be at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, at the World Health Organization, and others in the U.S. and around the world that ultimately output these vaccines country by country and region by region. So you mentioned within that there are chances that the flu strain that they predict is going to be the predominant strain may not actually be the case, and it may end up being a near miss in some case in terms of the vaccines. But those vaccines that you take can still have some impact in preventing some of those severe symptoms. But with that, you also have those misconceptions around the flu vaccine not being accurate or not being necessary every single year. So what is your reaction to that, or what's your rebuttal, better yet, to that as a medical professional, knowing what you know about the validity of these flu vaccines and the way that they actually can help people on a year-to-year basis?
So medicine is not an exact science. It tries to get exact as possible. And it's very difficult when, I've used this example before, but you're basically trying to repair a car as it's driving down the road. So to predict which strain is going to be the predominant strain in real time can sometimes be difficult. Now, they've done pretty well historically, and they've had some pretty good predictions, and they usually do well. And the flu vaccine definitely reduces your risk. Not to mention the fact that, it can address and help with mutations. As we've seen with COVID, we had a COVID vaccine that definitely helped with certain strains of COVID, not all of them, and there were some misses as well. But for the most part, it was a really good opportunity to get on top of things before they became significant problems. So, my rebuttal is that anything that's going to offer you a better chance of being healthier in the long run, I don't understand why that's something you shouldn't at least take a very good look at. I always encourage patients to get the flu vaccine. I always will. I always receive the flu vaccine. I give my parents the flu vaccine. However, I understand that there are some concerns, but the best I can do is educate people.
Joined by Dr. Jamie Twill from Grand River Medical Associates on today's edition of The Splash Live. You can get in contact with Dr. Twill and company at Grand River Medical Associates by visiting their website, grandrivermedical.com, or calling them 248-264-6169, 264-6169 for more information. So often, Dr. Twill, when we get to the flu season and we start hearing all this about encouraging us to get the flu shot, people's immediate reaction is often, well, I don't want to have the side effects of getting the flu shot. Every time I get the flu, it makes me feel like I've had the flu, and I get that pain in my arm for a couple of days after getting the flu shot. So in terms of the side effects, what side effects should be expected with the year-to-year flu shot, and what are those other ones that may pop up and not necessarily be severe, but be uncomfortable for a short-term period?
So let me first start by saying the misconception that people often say, well, the flu vaccine gave me the flu. And that's unfortunately, fortunately, that's just not the case. You're taking a protein that makes your body recognize the flu virus when it is exposed to it. And it's basically like gearing up for, battle. And so your body is going to have those types of reaction. To be expected, local site reaction at the site of injection. Your body's going to react to that. You might have some soreness in the arm for a few days. And then your body is going to mount an immune response to the flu virus as it is received from the vaccine. So you are going to feel possibly a little bit lethargic. You might have a low-grade temp. You might feel sluggish. You might feel a little bit achy. But that's very, very minimal compared to what you would expect if you were to actually get the flu virus. So I take, 1 to 2 days of listlessness as opposed to, a week of absolute misery. Now, I know I'm exaggerating a touch, but I will say it is a very small reaction compared to what you would have otherwise expected should you receive the flu. So I do think it is a very beneficial thing. Things that are unusual would be a anaphylactic reaction, and those are typically due to the proteins that the flu virus is made from. And it's kind of like saying, I'm allergic to pizza, when in reality you're just allergic to the particular cheese that the pizza is using. You're not allergic to the vaccine, but more so the proteins in which the vaccine is produced, stored, as well as preservatives, et cetera. So those are things to definitely consider. However, in response to that, they do make different types of vaccines with different proteins and preservatives that may make it a little bit easier for people. However, I do understand the concern, and no one wants to have an anaphylactic reaction. So any type of severe reaction needs to be reported immediately to your physician, as well as that needs to be documented in your chart so that you don't run the risk of having that again.
Dr. Jamie Tawil joins us on The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Your stories from your hometown on your community media outlets. We're talking about the seasonal flu and in particular the flu vaccine that comes out each and every year. And Dr. Tawil, to go back to discussing just influenza in general, it's been something that we've been afflicted with in our communities and our society for decades, for hundreds of years at this point. It's gone through a number of different mutations. We've had millions upon millions of people who have contracted it over the years and survived it, which of course helps with our body's reactions if we do contract the flu. But it's not hyperbole to say that every single year, a significant number of people, including children, do die as a result of contracting influenza. So speak to that particular existence. When someone does contract the flu, what do they often feel? And who is most at risk for those symptoms with the flu turning into severe outcomes that could potentially be deadly?
So I like to compare it like this. If people get a sinus infection or a throat infection, they typically have problems at the area of infection, or a bacterial infection. A flu virus is a whole body thing. People feel miserable from head to toe. They feel achy, they have difficulty breathing. Sometimes they get GI upset, they get fevers, they're exhausted. And it is just, you feel like you got hit by a truck, to use a silly example, but people are just miserable. People that are very, very at risk are people that have multiple comorbidities, lung issues, people with COPD, people with heart conditions. That can definitely make for a worse scenario. People survive the flu all the time, and that is wonderful. We're glad that people are able to do that. But if you're the one, the small amount of percentage that have issues, that could definitely make this a more severe problem. And then stack that on top of other problems, it can become pretty dangerous. And when you have children, mainly, children who that don't have complete development of their lungs yet, that, children with childhood asthma, you don't want them to have something that could definitely be a long-term problem. You don't want lung damage early in life when your lungs are still developing, for lack of a better, to a degree, and just have that carry on to now you're an adult with respiratory issues. So anything we can do to reduce that is obviously going to be the safe bet.
More information can be found by getting in contact with Dr. Tawil and the friendly people at Grand River Medical Associates, grandrivermedical.com, or give them a call, 248-264-6169, 248-264-6169 for more information. And as we get into flu season, people want to make sure they're getting the flu vaccine at the right time to best protect them from influenza when it pops up during the season. What is the best time to get a flu vaccine, Dr. Tawil?
First, the best time is as soon as possible. The second best time is right now. So, late September, early October is when these things start coming around. Once the flu vaccine is available, the minute it becomes available, this is the best time to do it. Once you get it, you're good for the rest of the year. So earlier, the better. Once the school season starts and kids start intermingling, that's when things start to spread a little bit quicker and easier. Kids are bringing things home to their parents. So once the school season starts and flu vaccines do become available in September, probably the best time to get that taken care of.
And Dr. Twiel, on top of getting the flu vaccine, of course, we've learned so many of these measures over the last several years with COVID-19, but there's plenty of other steps that people can take to help prevent the spread of influenza during this season, both whether they're in school, their kids are in school, or even at home and around the community.
So you're looking for alternate things that can be done to help mitigate the flu?
Yes.
Absolutely. The best thing to do is to, maintain good health is always going to be my number one recommendation. Try to make sure that you have no comorbid conditions that make you the healthiest you can possibly be to ward off infections. However, as we've learned through COVID, contact precautions is always going to be. Flu virus is a respiratory borne thing. So try to maintain social distancing. I hate that word because that word really inspires a lot of fear in people. But, just to basically wash your hands, make sure that you're not coughing on people, make sure you're using appropriate protection, coughing into your hands, washing your hands immediately after, and keeping an eye on symptoms as they arise. If you start to get symptoms of flu virus, usually starts as a sore throat, small low-grade fever that can develop into a higher fever. If that happens, you want to just try to stay away from the general population as best as possible, isolate and talk to your doctor to make sure that you do have something that can be easily taken care of. And of course, getting the flu, there are antivirals that you can take for the flu, such as Tamiflu and things like that. Getting that on board as soon as possible is key, because the longer you wait, the less effective the medication is. So if you feel that you might be having the flu, even if you've received the flu vaccine, you may want to contact your doctor and get tested so that this can be treated as soon as possible and you can have good outcomes.
Another great resource for more information on the seasonal flu is cdc.gov/flu. Dr. Twiel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, as always, and it's been my pleasure.
Always glad to have Dr. Twiel with us on the program to talk about the latest information we need to know in the medical community. And certainly during the flu season, that plays a big factor, as thousands will get the flu each and every year. And look, it doesn't affect everybody in severe ways. It isn't necessarily deadly for everyone, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it isn't deadly overall. And a great example of that is the case of Alana Yaksich, who was just 5 years old when she had died due to complications of the flu, leading the Yaktich family out of West Bloomfield to form Alana's Foundation, which you can learn more information about on alanasfoundation.org. And they're holding a free vaccine clinic tomorrow, Wednesday, October 11th, from 3:30 p.m. to 5 p.m. at West Bloomfield Town Hall. It's open to everybody in the community and those outside the community also, but it is encouraged. You are encouraged to pre-register. And Calvin, I'm not sure if we have the QR code for this. If not, it's alanas.vna.org, and there's information about the clinic ID and the passcode you'll need to pre-register on our website, so on the West Bloomfield Township website at wbtownship.org. There is information about this vaccine clinic that is happening again Wednesday of this week from 3:30 p.m. until 5 p.m. at West Bloomfield Town Hall. If you go to wbtownship.org, there is plenty of information on that. You can also click on a link on that website to find more information. They have a QR code on our page. It's pulled up right now. We've zoomed in on our graphic that shows the flyer for this particular vaccine clinic. If you scan that QR code, it'll take you directly to the website you need in order to register for this event. It is suggested when you do register that when you register, or if you don't register and you show up, if you're insured, bring a copy of your insurance card to this vaccine clinic. If you're uninsured, Alana's Foundation subsidizes the vaccine when available for ages 2+. They encourage pre-registration as it helps you move through, and face masks are optional for this year for vaccine recipients on site. Again, Wednesday, October 11th, 3:30 p.m. until 5 o'clock at West Bloomfield Town Hall. They will have signage up to point you in the right direction. You can learn more information on wbtownship.org. We'll take a break on the Splash Live. On the other side, the West Bloomfield School District continues to recognize its principals and assistant principals during National Principals Month, plus a really cool event that happened yesterday at the Mr. Peace Assembly at Sheiko Elementary, and some information, also some news from a West Bloomfield High School marching band. Stay with us. More of your stories from your hometown on your community media coming up next on the Splash Live.
We'll be right back with the Splash Live. Missed one of our live broadcasts or one of your local municipal meetings? Check it out online at civiccentertv.com. Every meeting, show, and interview on demand. Thank you for watching and listening to Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Watch West Bloomfield Lakers football all season long on 89.3 Lakes FM and TV. Join Tyler Kieft and Matt Catoni each week for live, in-depth, and exclusive coverage before and after the big game. It's your local high school football team on the road and in your backyard on your home for West Bloomfield Laker football, Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
When you have a gambling problem, you have a money problem. Don't let your gambling cause you financial hardship. If you or someone you love is struggling with gambling, we can help. Get free confidential counseling and win your life back. Learn more at michigan.gov/problemgambling.
This is Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. On cable and the radio. On the web too, and on social media. Civic Center TV, television that's close to home. And now, back to the Splash Live.
Welcome back to the Splash Live, Greater West Bloomfield's live daily news and talk show. Your stories from your hometown on your community media. Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. I'm Tyler Kieft alongside Dayan Chaaban. We're in the month of October. October is National Principals Month, and the West Bloomfield School District continuing this week to celebrate their principals and their assistant principals all throughout the school district. Their first in celebration this week is a man named Ryan West, who has 21 years of education experience in this industry. The last 6 of those which have been as principal at Roosevelt Elementary, both at their old building, that historic 103-year-old building, and their new location at the former Abbott Middle School. Congratulations to Ryan West on his recognition by the school district this week for his 6 years of service in the school district and 21 years educating kids all throughout our local area. Much of the same in celebration for Dr. Stephanie Clark, one of our assistant principals at West Bloomfield High School. 19 years in education, and started at West Bloomfield High School just 4 years ago. The time has flown by already 4 years at West Bloomfield High School. She came in under the new administration with Eric Pace as principal after the departure of Pat Watson over to the Bloomfield Hills School District, and has been doing a great job. You see her all throughout the hallways every single day at West Bloomfield High School. So whether it's Ryan West at Roosevelt or Dr. Stephanie Clark at West Bloomfield High School, as you see them all throughout the hallways this week, give them a congratulations and thank them for the work that they do each and every day as they're running our schools in our local school district during National Principals Month and all throughout the school year. Helping to organize events every single day and special educational opportunities in their schools, including at Sheiko Elementary School, our principals and Diane. A really fun assembly that happened earlier on this week at Sheiko with some special presentations as well.
That is true, Tyler. So Mr. Peace, or Kevin Swazala, I hope I'm saying this right, it was at Sheiko Elementary School, and he was rapping to our sharks about peace, and it's in a peace assembly. So just a little bit of background on the Mr. Peace organization. It's a 501c3 organization. And Kevin himself, the founder of the organization, was a U of M grad and an MSU grad as well. He did his MBA, and he was working in the auto industry until one day he realized that his passion is trying to spread compassion in our community and in schools specifically. So, and this is what he did in Sheiko Elementary School. This assembly was, of course, sponsored by also the West Bloomfield Coalition. They helped make this happen. They helped bring Kevin into Sheiko Elementary and rap to these kids and disseminate, as you know, Tyler, disseminate some peace and compassion and talk to these students about how beautiful our world can be if we are compassionate with each other. So it's a beautiful event that was held at Sheiko Elementary School yesterday.
A really great lesson and a way to engage the kids in that lesson too, make it fun, make that learning experience fun for them. It's better than just having someone stand at the front of a classroom or at the front of the gym and talk to the school about these issues. Make it something that's fun and engaging and keeps the kids learning throughout the course of the event. That's also the case of what had happened across the state of Michigan in Mount Pleasant over the weekend. The West Bloomfield High School Marching Band fired up to Central Michigan to participate in their high school band day. They both rehearsed and performed with over 20 other high school bands from Michigan and around the region, as well as the Central Michigan University marching band on their field in Mount Pleasant. And among those that they were playing alongside with from the Central Michigan Marching Band includes someone very familiar to this West Bloomfield High School Marching Band, CMU clarinetist and West Bloomfield High School 2022 drum major alum Anna Gorsick was one of the many that they performed with from other high schools and from Central Michigan over the weekend, continuing to travel throughout the region to perform at other schools and show their talent and develop their talent even further. We'll see them on Friday night at West Bloomfield High School on senior night as we recognize them and their seniors, as well as our football seniors during the Southfield A&T rivalry game that we'll have broadcast live on Civic Center TV. Over in the Bloomfield Hills School District, some teachers getting some good news yesterday as the Bloomfield Hills Schools Foundation officially awarded 48 of its so-called lightning grants to recipients all throughout the school district. 48 different educators in a variety of different capacities and a variety of different schools throughout the Bloomfield Hills School District received this funding yesterday. Got their big checks, both delivered to them in person and over the mail throughout the school district. And these grants were all supported by the Bloomfield Hills Schools Foundation, much like the West Bloomfield Educational Foundation in the West Bloomfield School District. Similar concept over in Bloomfield Hills, and you can learn more about the foundation and provide donations to support these educational efforts from these teachers that go towards supplies, special programs, and more by visiting bloomfield.org/community/foundation, or simply go to bloomfield.org, scroll over their community section, and click on Foundation for even more information. Dayan, a really fun thing coming up at the West Bloomfield Library as we're getting ready for the annual October solar eclipse. The West Bloomfield Library helping people get prepared with the right gear for that night.
They're calling it the coolest nerdy glasses. So you can get these very cool nerdy glasses for the solar eclipse glasses at the West Bloomfield Library ahead of October 14. So there is an event happening. The October 14 annual solar eclipse is happening soon. So you can get your glasses beforehand or on the same day. You can find them at the public service desk or at one of their upcoming eclipse programs, which is happening. Which happens, Tyler, which is happening. They include the night sky imaging with the Warren Astronomical Society, stellar gazers, and they're also provided. We must mention that they are provided by the Friends of West Bloomfield Library. There is a limit to one person, no registration needed, but only one person can get one glasses. You can find more information. I'm sorry, Tyler, going back to where you can find these programs. So these programs are happening on Wednesday, October 4th on the night sky imaging. It's happening on October 4th at the main library. And the Stellar Gazer is happening Saturday, October 7th. Sorry, we skipped these. But the next event is happening, of course, on this Saturday, October 14th. So make sure you are there at from 10 a.m. to noon. You can get their glasses from there or call them up, visit WBLIB and check out where you can get these glasses and call them. There is some contact information on there. You can call them and check out where you can get them before October 14th.
That event happening on Saturday will happen at the West Acres Youth Activity Center. It is for all ages. No registration is required, but to get in contact with the library, learn more about this, either stop by the main library on Walnut Lake Road or, of course, go to the scene of this event at the West Acres Library branch on Pontiac Trail. The West Bloomfield Rotary Club is preparing for an event later on in this fall season that helps to support an organization called Omni that supports a village in Zambia, providing educational, medical, and humanitarian aid to the George community in Zambia. Their Out of Africa dinner and auction will be happening October 22nd at 4 p.m. at the Huron River Club. $100 per ticket, and those proceeds go in part toward supporting this community in Africa that they support year in and year out. This annual dinner and auction is a very fun event that also goes toward a great cause. You can learn more information, including how to purchase tickets, by visiting westbloomfieldrotary.org. Plenty more of your stories from your hometown on your community media all week long with us on The Splash Live. We'll talk more about the latest news and talk to individuals making news all throughout the community all week long. Stay with us. The Splash Live continues very soon.